Hey everybody, welcome to Takeoff with John Clark, presented by Makefield Putters, and we got a good one on Sunday Night Football here on NBC. Sunday night, Eagles and Lions. Is it a NFC title game preview? We thought we were getting it last year. We now get it. So let's bring in the Hall of Famer from Sunday Night Football and Football Night in America, Tony Dungy. Good to see you again.
Hey, John, always great to be with you, and looking forward to coming into Philadelphia Sunday night. This is going to be special.
It is going to be awesome. And I know you're coming up from some warm weather, so bundle up. It's going to be a little colder.
Yes, I'll have everything that I can put on the sideline. We'll see if it's enough.
So we're going to dive into the matchup with you. But first, I got to ask you what they're talking about in Philly this week. Can you guess what I'm going to ask you about first?
Yes, I can. And my former Colts wide receiver, Aaron Moorhead, is the receiver coach with the Eagles. So I'll see him Sunday and I'll get some firsthand information. But everything Aaron has told me when I've talked to him about this, he says it's really overblown. He says A.J. Brown's a good teammate. He wants to win. Everybody's on board with him. And I think in the meetings and around the facility, it's great. I guess it's just the TikToks and everything else that come with the territory nowadays.
Yeah, the Twitch streaming this week, he's kind of dropped some cryptic tweets. So as a former Hall of Fame head coach, and I know you talked to Nick Sirianni, what would you do? How would you manage this situation when you've got your star receiver kind of dropping these things on social media when he's not getting the targets? How would you manage that?
I think you kind of dig around inside the building. And how is it? If his relationship with his teammates, with the rest of the guys is fractured a little bit, then you have to go address it. If it's just this outside persona and that's what's happening and it's not affecting your team, you get that situated and you don't worry about it. So that's where it is. I don't know how deep this fission is. We'll see. But AJ seems to be performing on the field when it counts. And that's all you can ask as a coach.
And I guess I wonder what his true motive is, because last year when he and Jalen Hurts maybe weren't on the same page and Brandon Graham kind of stepped in, AJ kept saying, we're having uncomfortable conversations. We have to have uncomfortable conversations, and his goal is to have the offense be great, performing at its best. Obviously, he wants to contribute more. He has said that. So what do you think his ultimate motive is putting this stuff out there?
You know, I had Keyshawn Johnson for a couple of years in Tampa, and he was the same way. I want to win, and I can help us win. The more I get the ball, the more we're going to win, the better we're going to do. That's the way he looked at it, and we all understood that. I played in an era with two great wide receivers, and one year we went to the Super Bowl. Lynn Swann caught 33 passes. In this day and age, that would be unheard of. But, you know, in the sauna and in the shower, it's, guys, I know I can do more. I know I can beat this guy, but we're here to win. That's all that counts. And that's what you want. As long as that's happening, you're fine. And guys can grumble. The thing about it back then, you grumbled in the sauna and nobody else heard it. Now you grumble on TikTok and 5 million people want to say, well, what did he mean by that? Every wide receiver wants the ball more. That goes back to the beginning of time. So you can't get buried in that. Is he doing his job? Is the locker room sound? Is everybody on the same page? And if they are, you live with the grumbling.
So this is kind of the worst 8-game stretch for AJ as far as production, numbers-wise, in 6 years. And obviously he wants the ball. So my question is, are they not calling enough plays for him, or is Jalen Hurts just not pulling the trigger on some of these throws? Or has AJ lost a little step? He had the knee injury last year. He's had the hamstring. He's missed, practices during camp, and sometimes during the season he missed the Giants game. What do you think, or is it a combination of everything?
I think it's a combination of everything. It's maybe not being as dominant in the run game as they have been, where last year everybody had to load the box to stop them. That gave you one-on-ones all over the place. Number two, I think Jalen is being a little more cautious with the football. He says, we've got a good team. If I don't turn the ball over, we're not going to lose. And so now when I look out and I see man-to-man, and maybe I see more separation with DeVonta, I see a wider alley to throw. In the past, I've thrown it to AJ. I know he'll go up and get it, but why should I throw to a guy who's kind of covered when I've got another guy who's wide open? So I think all of that kind of fits into it. I think when they need A.J. Brown, he's going to be there. He's going to deliver for them. I frankly expect him to have a really good night Sunday night. And people are going to say, well, it's because he complained, because all this went to the forefront. But it's not that. Detroit plays man-to-man. That's their DNA. Dan Campbell told me that's who we are. They're going to stop Saquon Barkley. Dan Campbell believes if you run the ball better than the other team, you're going to win. So he's going to come in with the idea, we're going to run our 2 running backs. We're going to stop their running back. I think there's going to be a lot of chances to throw one-on-one routes. Detroit's a little nicked up in the secondary. I think A.J. Brown should have a very good night Sunday.
That's a great point, because when you look at the Packers, of course, Nick Sirianni noted that on the DeVonta Smith touchdown, it's like they got the different levels there. They're trying to get somebody open, and the safety went over to A.J., so A.J. was taken out. So you go to DeVonta in that situation.
Yes.
But you said against the Lions, this might be an A.J. Brown game.
Yeah, and what you know, if you're a defensive back and you're a safety and you read all this and you say, gosh, this guy's complaining, maybe he's going to get the ball more. If I have a choice, I'm going to lean more towards A.J. Brown, because I think maybe Hurts is going to try to get him the ball. Well, this week, if I'm a safety for the Lions, I saw DeVonta Smith make all these big plays. Maybe I'm going to lean that way, and that's going to open things up for A.J. Brown. We'll see. But I kind of predict a 6, 7, 8 catch night and a couple of big plays for A.J., and we'll all say, well, you know, if you complain, the squeaky wheel gets the grease. And I don't think it's that at all. I think it's how they're going to play them.
Well, I look forward to seeing you on Football Night in America, making your pick as far as maybe who's going to have the big game. That's a good call about A.J. And the part of this, too, is DeVonta Smith. I mean, when we watch him week in and week out, and I was talking to guys after the Monday night game, some of the DBs said, you got to understand, DeVonta, when we're doing our special teams, we're doing our defense, he is always on the jugs machine. We see over there, he might catch 400 to 500 balls every day on the jugs machine. So do you think there's also a case of DeVonta is ascending here?
Oh, absolutely. And putting that work in and getting the confidence of the quarterback. And I remember when I came to Indianapolis, Reggie Wayne told me, I've got to get Peyton Manning's confidence. Marv has it right now. I've got to get Peyton to feel the same way about me that he feels about Marvin. And I think that's been DeVonta's deal. You know, I want my quarterback to feel like anytime he drops back, I'm going to be open and I'm going to deliver for him. And that's what he's done. And this young man, he's got speed, he's got quickness, he's got in and out of the break. He goes up and catches the ball. They've got 2 brilliant wide receivers, and unfortunately, you can't feed them both every single night of the season.
So asking you again how you manage it, because that's a great point about DeVonta wanting to kind of be on that A.J. level now that DeVonta has almost surpassed A.J. in that trust. So how do you manage, like, we've got to get A.J. the ball here sometimes because he sees DeVonta eating, he sees Jamar Chase and all these other receivers getting their targets. How do you kind of massage that?
You have to dial things up, and you've got to get A.J. involved early in the game for sure. But the big thing you just have to keep talking is Super Bowl rings. That's what Chuck Noll did with Swan and Stallworth when they were catching 40 balls a year, 30 balls a year. Hey, I know you guys could go someplace else. You could be the number 1 receiver. You could light up the scoreboard, but you're going to win 4 Super Bowl rings here. You're going to get in the Hall of Fame with 300 catches in your career. And that's 3 years for some guys. That's your whole 14-year career. But you know what? You're going to be the best in the game. We're going to be the best in the world, and winning has to be the focal point, and our guys bought into it.
Now, they bought into it, but it's very interesting in the case of A.J. Brown, because after he won the Super Bowl for the first time, he came out and he said, you know what? It's not as gratifying or it's not as satisfying as I thought. And during the offseason, we saw him, get in incredible shape again. But he said, I want to show that I am the best receiver in the NFL. So is this partly that he's not being given that chance?
Well, hopefully he understands that you can be the best receiver in the NFL without putting up the best numbers. If you have, I'll give you, a classic example. We're playing the New England Patriots in the AFC Championship game. Marvin Harrison has torched them in the regular season, got 6 for 150 and 2 touchdowns. Bill Belichick says, I'm not going to let Marvin Harrison beat me. So they put this coverage in where Asante Samuel has Marvin Harrison. Looks like man coverage, but he's got the safety behind him on every play. Early in the game, Peyton Manning throws an interception, pick six. Peyton looks at, oh, this is what they're doing. This safety is going there every time. In the second half, they stayed in that coverage. We did not throw one ball to Marvin Harrison. Reggie Wayne and Dallas Clark went crazy. We win the game. We go to the Super Bowl. Marvin Harrison is smart enough and mature enough to know I didn't put up any numbers in this game, but I dictated the game and I had as much impact as anybody on the field, even though I never got another ball in that game. And sometimes AJ is going to have to understand that. Yeah, you're a great player. Yes, you can get open. Yes, you can beat man coverage. Yes, you're phenomenal after the catch. It may not come to you every game. If teams go in taking you away and we're winning, now if we're going other places and we're losing, that's different. But if we go other places and we're winning, you got to take joy in that.
Yeah, and that's the whole thing. It's interesting that this came out once again after a win, right? And that's where it's interesting.
It's hard, and I get asked to speak to teams quite a bit, and that's one example I use about unselfishness and being for the team. And I said this our Super Bowl year. I used it as an example among others, but I said, how many people in this room want to go to the Super Bowl? Of course, everybody, all the players raised their hand. I go over to my receiver room, okay. How many of you want to go to the Super Bowl? If I tell you we're going to the Super Bowl, but you won't catch one pass this year, and not every hand goes up then because, okay, I want to go to the Super Bowl, but I want to catch passes too. That's my job. What's more important? Is going to the Super Bowl more important? Is that the goal? Or is catching 100 passes more important? And you find out where guys are. Fortunately, I had guys, including Marvin Harrison and Reggie Wayne, that raised their hand. Even if I don't catch one ball and we go to the Super Bowl, I'm on board.
I tell you, that's great stuff. And A.J. Brown, the one thing I do think is good, I just wish he wouldn't do it publicly, is I think he is pushing people. Because it's like he's saying, we're not good enough to win the Super Bowl right now.
Yeah.
So I just don't know if he should be doing it publicly.
I appreciate that as a coach, right? Come into my office every day. Tell me you want the ball more. I get it. Tell me how we can do to get you the ball more. Tell me how you want the offense to be better. Challenge your teammates. All of that's great. Keep it in the building. Yeah. Just keep it in the building and we're going to be fine.
Keep it in the sauna and the shower, right?
Yes, exactly.
That'd be a great podcast, by the way. You played with Lynn Swann. So I wanted to ask you about DeVonta Smith, because every time I watch him at his size, and I saw him high point that ball, 50-50 balls, and I was talking to him after the game, and I said, should you be considered amongst all the great receivers in the game right now at contested catches? And he says, yeah, I feel I am right there with everybody else. And he said playing basketball in his younger days really helped him, playing above the rim. I'm not comparing him to Lynn Swann, but how about the body control? How about it's almost like ballet. Exactly. It's a thing of beauty.
It's very, very similar. And it's great you mentioned ballet. Swann, his mother had him in ballet classes. And everybody thought, oh, well, sissified and all that. But it helped him, the body control, the leaping ability, coming down the right way. And that was him, contested catch. We all remember the Super Bowl and jumping and diving and catching it. But Terry Bradshaw had that confidence. Yeah, I'm always looking for the open guy. But in a big moment, if I have to throw it to him, he's going to go up and get it. And I think Jalen has the same confidence in DeVonta. Now, the one thing DeVonta does, too, he gets great separation. He also will catch the ball over the middle inside with that thin frame. So he's a complete receiver, and I love watching him play. I love watching A.J. Brown, too. I think they've got two different body types, but they're competitive, they're great, and the system that they have, you can't take everything away. And somebody's going to have a big day, but it's not the same person every night.
I think that's such a great point. And it's like when you kind of say, AJ, you want to go to the Super Bowl, you're coming. Your time is going to come.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. It is. And I didn't have to have those conversations very often with our guys because they understood it. But Peyton Manning was the master at, I'm going to go at the weakness of the defense. You double Marvin, I'm going to throw it to Reggie. You keep your safeties back, we're going to run the ball with edge run. If we do everything and it's third and long and both wide receivers are getting doubled, I'm going to throw it to Dallas Clark. And to me, Philly has the same thing. They've got two great wide receivers. We've got a dynamic tight end. They've got a running back that you've got to gang up on. It should be fun playing quarterback. Now, it's not always fun when everybody's saying, I need the ball a little bit more, but you got a lot of weaponry. It should be fun.
And it's fascinating to me because I think there's a lot of people in Philly right now that are saying they want to see Jalen Hurts take more chances. But to me, Nick Sirianni stated clearly the other day, he said, the number one thing on offense that I stress is don't turn the ball over, win the turnover battle. We remember what happened in 2023 when their season collapsed. Jalen Hurts turned the ball over a lot. Last year to start the season, he was throwing a lot of picks. Something changed in the bye week. He hasn't thrown hardly any interceptions the rest of the way in this year. So do you agree with the way they're playing, maybe a little safer, or do you think they should open up a little more?
I absolutely do agree with that. I just think that Jalen understands I've got a good team. I've got an excellent defense around me. I don't have to take unnecessary risks. There are times when it's going to happen, but if I manage this ball and put it in the right hands at the right time, we're going to win games. And I love the way he's playing.
Hey, I'm John Clark, and we are here in Bensalem, PA at Makefield Putters. And I got to tell you, we want to thank them for being our new sponsors of the Takeoff Podcast. And I've got putting issues when I get out there. I'm 6'5", and I had to get a custom putter. When I got this custom putter here, it changed my putting game. You know, when it's wintertime and we go get jackets, different size people need different size jackets. Well, we got to get a custom putter for our size, our type of swing and everything. They break it all down for you. They build up the putter from scratch. They have all the data, the analytics, the statistics to get you to be a good putter. And when I came here to Makefield Putters and I started to use my custom putter, I got to tell you, I make it with Makefield. So next time you're on the course with Makefield Putters, go birdies. So you just mentioned the defense, Tony, and Monday night, Eagles fans are like, wow, it's almost like having 3 trade deadline acquisitions. Jalen Phillips comes back into Vic Fangio's system, and then you have Nolan Smith back for the first time in a month and a half, and Brandon Graham is back. How much different, after watching Jalen Phillips and what he can do to open up everything for that defensive line, how potent is his defense going to be now the second half?
Well, you got 3 more weapons, and you have 3 more guys who understand the defense. It's not like, okay, Jalen Phillips, it's going to take him 6 weeks to know what we're doing. He comes in day one, he knows what we're doing. Brandon Graham, yes, he's been away from it, but he's been in this defense. So getting that injection of energy and let's go get him, that's going to do nothing but help this defense.
And you know, they finished with the number 1 defense last year, so there's a possibility. And then I think with Jalen Carter getting double teamed a lot, and then you have Jordan Davis, how does having an extra edge rusher or 2, how does that open things up for Jalen Carter?
Well, he's still going to get doubled. People are going to say, we're not going to let this guy beat us. But I think what it does, it just helps Vic Fangio so much. I don't have to blitz to create pressure. And so they're going to have to worry about what I'm doing on the back end in coverage. The blitz is just going to be icing on the cake. And I can just rotate these guys through. We're going to get pressure throughout the game. We are going to be a dominant defense in the second half of the year. And I can see Coach Fangio licking his chops right now.
All right, this big one, Sunday night on NBC. I mean, the Eagles have been in a couple of the highest rated games of the year. I think this is going to be up there. Tony, how would you, if you're Vic Fangio, how would you try to slow down this Lions offense that is just rolling now? I mean, Jared Goff, one of the best in the NFL, Jahmyr Gibbs, and then you've got 2 receivers that are unbelievable. So how would you match up against this Lions offense?
Well, you cannot single cover these receivers. They're going to make too many big plays. But Dan Campbell and his philosophy is it starts with our running game. And the games where Detroit has struggled, they haven't run the ball well. So if I'm Philadelphia, I'm going to take away the run game. I have to do that. And fortunately, we've talked about these new acquisitions. They've got guys who can come in and help that. But if you let Jared Goff sit comfortable and throw the ball on 2nd and 2 because you made 8 yards running the ball on 1st down, that's when he's at his best. So somehow you've got to put him in long yardage situations where it has to be passed. Then you can tee off. So to me, that's it. If I'm the Eagles, I'm going to stop these 2 running backs early in the game, and that's where we're going to have our success.
And Nakobe Dean has been huge in the running game since coming back for the Eagles defense.
Yeah, no, they've got so many guys who just fit perfectly, and they haven't played up to Eagle standards. They played very good defense, but they're used to playing great defense, and that's what I kind of expect to see here in November and December.
And Vic Fangio, he's kind of got a big decision on his hands because he loves Cooper DeJean at nickel. And he said Cooper's one of the best nickels in the NFL. Yep. Now, they just acquired Michael Carter, and Vic said today he really likes the way Michael Carter's looking in practice. So he said there is a possibility that Michael Carter could play the nickel and then Cooper moves outside. But I ask you, if you have Adoree Jackson, Keely Ringo, or possibly Jacorian Bennett at cornerback number 2, how much does having that added pass rush help them be better back there?
It's going to help them tremendously. When you crank up the rush, it helps all the DBs. And I think Vic has to make that decision. What is my best grouping? Some of it may end up being, well, who are their best players? Are their best players in the slot, or are their best players out wide? What do we have to take away? But it's great to have that flexibility and that luxury.
I was thinking, because Vic's a big baseball guy, that it's almost like your bullpen. You can go to matchups. Like you talked about the speed of the Lions, so you need to have a speedy cornerback number 2 on the outside, right?
Yes, you do. And again, every week is going to be a little bit different. But when you can bring in that left-handed relief pitcher to face the lefty. That's what you want to do. And I think that's what Philadelphia will have the edge. Whatever we are facing, we've got enough tools to take care of that.
Yeah, he's got a lot of arms in the bullpen that he can call on. Before I let you go, Is this a statement game, do you think, for the Lions? I mean, the Eagles won the Super Bowl. The Lions, in my opinion, obviously, they wanted to come here, or they would have had the NFC title game in Detroit. So is it the Lions that really is trying to make a statement in this game, you think?
Well, I think it's both teams, actually. And both of these teams know we're probably going to see each other in the playoffs. Whoever wins this game is probably going to have the home game. Detroit, I think that's one of the reasons Dan Campbell went to the play calling last week to get prepared for this game. I don't think he was calling the plays to beat the Commanders. He was sending a message to his team, this is how we're going to do it next week against the Eagles, because that's the game we have to win.
That is such a great observation. How much do you think him calling the plays helped and changed some things?
Oh, I think it made a big difference. The 2 games against good opposition that they didn't win, they didn't get Jahmyr Gibbs involved early. They didn't get Jameson Williams involved. And Dan Campbell is, hey, we're going to run the ball. Our backs are going to get it. But more than that, more importantly, Jahmyr Gibbs is going to touch it. And some way, somehow, I'm going to get Jameson Williams involved.
Well, I love your analysis. Now, I've always asked you for your pick, but you never give it to us because you're teasing ahead to Football Night in America. Am I right?
Yeah, and I really am on the fence with this one. I have to think about it, and I have to see. There's some things that make me like Detroit. They're a little more explosive on offense. They put up points. I think Philadelphia has the best defense. Detroit is a little nicked up in their secondary. It is definitely going to be a line of scrimmage game, though. And I think that these defensive linemen that Philadelphia has added, that is really going to be a big help. Can they neutralize that Detroit offensive line? If they can, they'll win the game.
I love it. It is going to be an awesome night, Sunday night. One final question before I let you go, because you do talk to Nick Sirianni and he values your input. We have seen Nick Sirianni grow so much as a coach. And, people say he's a CEO coach and he has Kevin Patullo calling the offense, Vic Fangio calling the defense. How important has he been with the connections? Because I think last year, if Jalen Hurts and A.J. Brown kind of don't work out whatever was going on, they don't win a Super Bowl. And now these things are festering a little bit. So how important is that role that he has of, I don't want to say therapist, but he's managing egos. He's managing star athletes here.
That role is super important, and everybody talks about the play caller and, the offensive coordinator and the defensive coordinator. No, that's important. But the important thing is, who are we? How are we rolling? And what happens when we hit a bump in the road? How do we navigate that? And that's where I think he's done a fantastic job ever since he's been there. And you can't overlook that. You cannot overlook that.
Hey, wise words from a Hall of Famer, Tony Dungy. We appreciate you joining us and cannot wait to see you on Sunday night, all bundled up here in Philly. This is cold weather football. You're going to see some good running games here, right? I mean, this is going to be a classic matchup.
watch the line of scrimmage and see which way it's moving, and that's going to tell you who's going to win the game.
I love it. We'll see you on Sunday Night Football, Football Night in America, NBC Sunday night. It's maybe going to be the game of the week. That's Seahawks-Rams, I think.
Yeah, that's a good game too, but I like this one.
I do too. Tony, it was great catching up with you. We will see you this weekend.
Thank you, John.
The greatest. Oh, mom, so flagrant.